We are back. We are back. We are back. Oh no. We are back. Tap in with me. We're back for part 2 of the Saturday live debate, guys. I don't know what the heck just happened. YouTube live just went down in the middle of the stream. Devil is a liar. We're going to continue this conversation, guys. So come on back in here, man. As soon as you see that notification pop up for you guys who are subscribers to the channel, we got to keep this thing going, man. Notifications should be coming through. I had to shut down my entire computer, guys. YouTube just completely crashed on me. I don't know if it was a system-wide issue with YouTube, but my whole YouTube just crashed. I had to reset everything. So I'm getting everything back up so we can continue these conversations. Thank you guys for tapping back. Nothing is going to stop the show. Nothing is going to stop the show. Let me get my slide back up. We're working through the depth chart. If you could hear me, if you could see me, go ahead and let me know. Let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. Oh, man, I lost. Hold on. I lost my whole setup here. I'm trying to get it back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Smarty Smitty says we're good. I appreciate you, my brother. All right. I think that was a warning shot. YouTube is like, man, this stream too hot right now. You too hot out here in these streets, man. You're going crazy. But let me pull up my notes here, and we're gonna get right back into the action. And then we're gonna cook even more now. I'm gonna cook even harder now. I'm not holding anything back on this stream. I'm gonna have to find some new content for next week just to make it up to you guys. And for you guys sticking in there with me, you get a bonus episode. I'm gonna drop some stuff early, and then I'm gonna use some new technology as well on you guys, just to let you know that I'm not playing around. Hold on. Let's get busy. Right back at it. Ain't nobody gonna take my shine. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep it moving. If it's Saturday at noon, perfect timing. We lit. All right, we lit. We back. Let me know if I'm loud and clear. Marty Smitty says I was cooking. It got too hot in the kitchen, man. YouTube shut the whole thing down. It's like, what? We were trying to let you eat, but not eat. You had the whole Colorado Buffaloes community shut down. Everybody was tuned in. Everybody was locked in. We're going to get them back, guys. We still got a lot of content to go through. We're going to get everybody back. But I'm glad that you're immediately back, Marty Smitty. W. Rashid, welcome, my brother. Oh, he says, I appreciate what you do, bro. Keep it up. Oh, yeah, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. And then plus, that's note to self. I'm going to need to probably find an alternative to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I'm going to do some research about potential platforms that I could move to. That's definitely going to stop that from happening, because the show's just going to keep getting bigger. And if we starting to get the stream having issues at just like 60 something people with the chat, what it was, I need to find an alternative. All right. So we were talking about Cam Perry, and then somebody brought up Danny Scudero, but I said I needed to give Cam Perry his just due and how much respect I have for him signing on to be a Colorado Buffalo. And in my book, that counts for something, but he certainly has the talent to be on the field. We're talking about DeAndre Moore and Quanell. I think DeAndre Moore might be nursing something a little bit more serious because he's not competing at all, even in mat drills, which in my book moves Quanell up right here, which is where we want to see our guys who stayed, guys. For me, there says a lot about character when a guy stays within the program. We know he has much to prove. We know his play on the field must be the primary way that he proves it. But when a guy is loyal and stays down, I know there were probably teams in his ear, right? He probably could be in another program and getting more play time, but he decided to stay down with Colorado and put in that work. So Quanell, in my book, DeAndre not participating probably could move up here to 2 behind Cam Perry. Okay. Now we're going to move into the slot. There are a couple of names here. I think somebody in the previous chat said the person they anticipate being most hurt by this loaded wide receiver room is a Quentin Gibson. Again, I have him here on IR, but Q for 6 is a player. And he understands that in a room like this, he's going to have to demonstrate that he can get on the field and there's not going to be a production drop off. But here's who he's competing with in his true position. Just like Cam Perry, I think early on some people's depth charts is wide receiver 1. He might be wide receiver 1 for some people because he could play both inside and outside. A guy like Quentin Gibson is a little bit more limited. Even like a Joseph Williams last year played both inside and outside. Because last year you had Marion Miller on the X, you had Sincere Brown on the Z, and because Joseph Williams was the kind of player who could make plays for you, they just had him playing in the slot. But his true position is the X. Last year experience gives him more flexibility where he can move around. Q for 6 is a pure slot receiver, in my personal opinion. If you guys differ on that, please let me know. And to the point that they were making about who might be hurt the most by this loaded wide receiver room, I think because Danny Scudero is starting in the slot ahead of him, he might be the person who has the tallest mountain to climb to get on the field in their pure position. Now, I think which any smart OC looking to retain this kind of talent, because if Danny Scudero has the kind of year that I anticipate he's going to have with 50 plus catches and really being used as a weapon, he might be going to the NFL Combine next year. So from a retention standpoint, before we lean too much into Danny Scudero and why I have him as a starter, prime retention candidates in this wide receiver room, you want to see Hakeem Williams develop and retain him. You want to retain Joseph Williams. I think he at least has 2 more years. You want to retain Christian Ward. You want to retain Cam Perry, who I think is going to be back because DeAndre Moore is leaving. You want to retain Quanell, keep Ernest Campbell, Quentin Gibson, and I think Caleb might have 1 more year. In order to do that, even though Quentin may not necessarily get as many targets as some of these other guys, although at a bare minimum, I have him at 25 catches, I think you have to find other creative ways to get Quentin Gibson the ball. One of my videos I did, I clearly defined the difference between targets, passes thrown beyond the line of scrimmage that are scripted pass plays. For wide receivers, those are targets. I'm saying these starters right now going into spring ball are going to command the vast majority of passes thrown beyond the line of scrimmage. Targets. In terms of Brennan Marion, he has already been asked, well, you have a lot of weapons here. How do you intend to get all of these guys the ball? And what he responded and said was, well, I had a team where I had 9 guys with 50 plus touches. A touch is not a target. So in terms of the way that Brennan Marion spreads the ball around and why he might have recruited these many players who are all weapons is not because he intends to use them in the purest sense of the word as wide receivers, but rather guys that he can get the ball to in interesting and creative ways. The touch count, right? A lot of these guys are not going to live in the target economy. Downfield, stretch the field, 20, 30-yard receptions. A lot of these guys are going to live in the touch economy, which is Brennan Marion creatively finding ways to find mismatches on the field using these guys. Can you have the defense so confused in the go-go offense that they will line up a linebacker against a Quentin Gibson or the third best cover corner against a Cam Perry? How can we move these guys around in motion, in jet sweeps, in reverses, in order to get them the touches necessary? So, guys, what I'm saying is, even if you're not lined up as a pure wide receiver week 1 of the season as a starter, I think with these installs and what we're going to look at in terms of go-go formations, there are going to be very interesting ways that these guys are going to get touches. If you with me, go ahead and put a like. I see a lot of y'all coming back in here. Thank you for tapping in with me. I know the message is going out to more of our folks who were in conversation with us. We're going to get this live back jumping. Okay, so right here in the slot, my number one guy, the guy who I believe is going to repeat again as one of the top wide receivers in the country, is going to be Danny Scudero. Danny Scudero was brought in to lead this wide receiver room. Now, some of you might say, no, I disagree with that. And right on time, my man Dom Parlay. Hey, welcome to the chat, man. What's up, Dom? He says Campbell will pass Danny to start in the slot. Oh, really? Man, Ernest Campbell over Danny Scudero? I do have him in the number 1 slot because speed is speed. So the difference in speed here in the slot is, I think, a 4.5 flat right here and like a 4.3, low 4.3, maybe could even get to 4.2. Okay. That's the difference in speed here. All right. So if you're just going on pure speed, I will give Ernest Campbell the edge. Okay. Oh, yeah. Another great point, Don Parlay, his familiarity with the offense. All right. Where I give Danny the edge here is the difference in levels at which they did what they did. Okay. Even Danny Scudero is going up a level coming over to the Big 12. Ernest Campbell is coming up 2 levels. Okay. He's not just coming up to Power 4 football, right? He's coming up to Power 4 football in the Big 12. Danny Scudero was already, playing at a high level at San Jose State. Danny Scudero put up numbers against Texas. The reason I have these guys ranked where they are ranked is not only off of talent, but off of production as well. Another thing I love about Danny Scudero is Danny Scudero in the run game. If you watch my highlights of Danny Scudero, not only is he a deep threat, all right, he had 88 or so catches, 80 plus catches, and 1,200 yards receiving. You don't go for 1,200 yards catching hitches, slants, and drags. A vast majority of his catches, I mean, he averaged a first down a catch, about 14 yards a catch. I know Ernest Campbell had 20 yards average per catch, 700 yards on the season. Danny Scudero had 1,200 yards and 88 catches. In my opinion, Danny Scudero is wide receiver 1. All right, let's keep going. Young not starting over Henderson. Okay. I think there's a battle here. There's a real battle here. But we already talked about the running backs. And when we get into the formations, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay. But again, I think when again, and kind of just to recap, because this is part 2 of the live, we're talking about spring ball. So when they call for the number 1 starting team on Monday for spring ball, I have Richard Young running out there first. I'm not saying that come week one, of course, this depth chart is going to be updated on a bi-weekly basis during these conversations, depending on how spring ball is going. All right, Taylor definitely starting. Yes, I like DeKalen. I like him because he's very versatile and he's a real home run hitter. I love the JoJo pick and the Cam pick. I appreciate that. Don't forget Ernest is from SAC. Yup, Danny played at SAC before Campbell. I agree. Great 1090. Welcome to the chat. I appreciate you tapping in with us. Danny definitely can run some routes. I agree with that. Danny wasn't there with Marion. Yep, that was the year before Marion got there. I played at JUCO, then D1. It's easier for an offensive player to jump. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I would love to know what position you played, and if it's the same for all positions. I imagine the trenches might be quite different, JUCO versus D1, and the speed on the outside might be a little bit different. But you correct me if I'm wrong. Don't matter. Production speaks volume. Again, that's why I have Danny Scudero where I have him, and then Don Parlay says facts, facts. All right. So far, what have we done? We've gone through QB. We've gone through both running backs. We've gone through the wide receivers. Now we need to go through the trenches. Okay. Now we need to go through the trenches. This is where most of the conversation is. This is where the games are going to be won in the fall. At left tackle, you guys know we lost Jordan Seaton. A competition that I'm watching very closely, and right now I am giving Bo Hughley the slight edge, is going to be this war going on for the starting left tackle position between Bo Hughley and Leon Bell. Bo Hughley is the Georgia transfer. And in an interview, forget who got, I think he was on with Neely and Big Dog Chico. Bo Hughley and Taj White's name came up multiple times as real leaders in that linebacker room. Now, the offense, to get on the field at Georgia, you got to be a real dog. I mean, you got to be a real dog. You don't play on Georgia's offensive line and they're just handing it out to you. Or if you're not going to be a significant part of the reason why that offense is successful. So let's take a look at Bo Hughley. I haven't done a real deep dive into the offense, but I'm going to take an opportunity here to go some of that right now. Bo Hughley, 6'7", 295, between 295 and 300. Obviously, you'd say, hey, he needs to put on some weight. Offensive tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs, played in 10 games with 2 starts during his 2024 redshirt freshman season. He contributed to a Bulldogs offense that averaged 31 points. Now, one of the reasons that Coach Prime pointed to in terms of bringing Marion over to Colorado was he wanted in an offensive coordinator somebody who had a proven track record of scoring 30-plus points. Here's the next thing. Even though he only had 2 starts, he did play in 10 games. Look at the rushing yard average, guys. Okay? Run blocking. Run blocking. Run blocking is what the go-go offense is all about. They're going to run the ball if the trend continues with Brennan Marion at about a 60-40 split. 60% of the plays being run plays, another 40% being vertical shots wherever they can fool the defense into thinking it's run and then throw the ball over their head. Okay? So this is a battle that I'm watching very closely. It's not going to get handed to him because the guy who's going to be competing for him for reps or with him for reps. Okay, not that Leon Bell. all right, is the former Cal left tackle, 6'8". Colorado does not lack for size in 2026. Now, 330-pound offensive tackle who played in 2 early 2025 games for Cal, recording 33 snaps and earning a 75.6 offensive grade. This is a battle that I'm looking for a guy who's looking to earn more playing time. So both of these guys are hungry. You want to see this kind of trench warfare at Colorado because nothing this year is going to be handed out. So I'm excited for what's happening in terms of the line. I mean, the offensive line room and how that bodes for the running game that Brennan Marion likes to employ. Now, a guy with previous experience with Colorado is the former starting right tackle, Philip Houston, who started in 2024 but sat out in 2025 due to an injury. Interested to see if he has an opportunity to really shake up this side of the line. Now, because he started on the right side, I could have put him there, but you'll see why I didn't put him on the right side and put him here. Now, I could flip Andre Roy over here, Philip Houston over here, but I have him in the third spot, and in the freshman Xavier Payne, who said he wants to make some noise this year, is in that fourth slot. Let me go quick to the comments and see what you guys are talking about. It says, I don't like Bell and Bo at guard. Bell and Bo. I have him at left tackle right here. Actually, the guard pulls a lot in this offense. Okay, so it depends on who can bend the knee and turn. I think we might have that here, guys, in our guards, but we'll get to them here in a second. I heard Bo is so athletic that he could play tight end. Yep, that's the word on the street, but we definitely, the tight end room is loaded. We need him at left tackle for sure. Oh, well, if that's right, we need Bo at left guard and Bell at left tackle. So you think they might scoop Bo inside? I think I will not be surprised if the goal is to get the most talented guys on the field, regardless of past position. You could see that happening because something very similar happened in the right tackle spot with Larry Johnson, our tackle last year, moving inside to guard. But I'll talk about Larry Johnson here in a second. Hunter at center and Taj White at right tackle. Okay, so you agree with me there. Okay, so that's the left tackle situation. Let's look at left guard now. Left guard. I have Yaya Atia. He's been at Colorado for 3 seasons, and he's shown development as well as additional play time every single season. He has not only been a leader in terms of more of a vocal guy in that offensive line room, but his work ethic, I mean, as far as what we can see, is, he's one of the leaders in that category as well on the team. So that's why I have him slotted here as a guard. He has the ability to pull. I think he has the mobility, and he has the nastiness as well. What we didn't have last year is like a real nasty offensive line. I want to see these coaches develop in the trenches a real nastiness in Colorado. I have yet to really see an offensive line really beat up guys, right? Drive them into the ground and keep hitting them until the whistle blows. But right behind him is Chauncey Gooden, who I like because he is a true road grader. And in a run-first offense, you want to see a guy like this at guard who could really move people out of the way and open run lanes. I am watching this competition right here between Yaya and Chauncey Gooden throughout the spring. And again, all of this is very fluid. These folks are going to move around during the spring as we get more details. Javon McFadden. Now, a lot of guys were excited about him during the transfer portal, but I don't have any tape on him. And I don't have any tape on Chauncey Gooden, but I really want to see if he's able to destroy my depth chart with what he does in the spring. Meaning Javon McFadden comes in and does so well in the spring that I have to throw this whole offensive line around because of what he shows up on tape. Big name, Ohio State transfer, but what is he actually going to be able to do in the spring? All right, so I'm watching that competition as well. One of the hottest competition in the trenches is the Demetrius Hunter, Sean Kinney competition. I give Demetrius Hunter the nod because he played at Houston in a winning program, and his numbers are just his production numbers are absolutely outstanding. But Sean Kinney, do not sleep. He was a highly touted guy in the transfer portal, and we lack depth here. Would ideally want to see another guy available here, but I think one guy who has a little bit of flexibility, if we really go, if we have injury problems, you could see if these two guys go down, a Yaya Atia being able to move in here at center, maybe a Chauncey Gooden moves up, a Javon McFadden moves up, or like Don Parlay says, in a very like completely throwing the playbook out of the window, a Bo Hughley moving here and then a Leon Bell moving here. Okay. But that would be a crazy shuffle of the cards, right? We certainly don't want to see that happen. We want these two guys to be healthy all season and help this team win. All right. Let me go to the chat real quick. I love Yaya, but not as a starter. Okay. But a good plug and play depth piece. We'll see. McFadden could start as a young diamond in the rough, potentially. I don't like none of the tight ends. I will be watching close. No fave in that room yet. We're going to get to the tight ends here in a second. Run Tell That is back. Hey, all my people coming back. All my people coming back just in time. Just in time. If you guys weren't here, we were cooking on the previous live, guys. It was lit up in here. YouTube crashed on me. I think it was the chat was on fire. I had to restart my whole computer in order to start this part too. So I'm glad to see a lot of y'all back. Run Tell That. Ew. Marty Smitty says Don Parlay Atkins is supposed to be that dude. We'll get to Atkins here in a second. RMJ Media 100. Welcome to the chat, man. I'll be watching that left side of the O-line very closely this season. There are some concerns. Yep. Hopefully these two guys can shore those concerns up, but we will certainly see. All right, next up, right guard. I give the nod to Jose Soto because of his experience in the go-go offense, and to the point that somebody made earlier, having guards that can pull. He has the athleticism and he has the experience doing that. One of the guys that I see Colorado investing a lot in is Larry Johnson. He looks to be in better shape. He looks stronger and he looks better conditioned this season. But in watching the well-off media videos reach the people and in the pregame show, it appears that Larry Johnson, and during the spring draft, has moved from the right tackle, who he was the starter last year at this position, and inside to guard. If not for this move, you could see them being a little bit thin at guard, because you would have to move Javon McFadden maybe over here into the number 2, and then all you would have behind these two depth pieces is a freshman. So I think they move Larry Johnson inside to give them better depth here, because look at the right tackle and left tackle depth. Okay. So I thought that was a smart move, and I think he's really a developmental piece that they're putting a lot of investment into. And I think he's going to give Jose Soto here a run for his money, because I don't think a former starter wants to sit an entire season here. So the competition here is going to be very fierce. The thing about it is Larry Johnson fit enough to be able to pull and get out to the edges like you want to see a guard pull and get out to the edges like the go-go offense is going to require you to do. This is going to be a battle that I'm watching in the spring. And then last but not least, this is probably going to be one of the hottest contested positions all spring. And that's why they just, hey, Larry, I think you might as well go here because we want those reps split between these three guys here to find out if we have a real right tackle on this team. And that's Taj White out of Rutgers and Javen Richardson out of Missouri. Taj White, in terms of overall experience, has more experience, more games played. And again, in an interview with Gunnar White, him and Bo Hughley are two guys that Gunnar White seemed to be very, very high on. So I give him the nod for experience and just the way the coach has been talking about him. But Javen Richardson did not come over from Missouri, where he started a couple of games in 2025 to sit. So there's going to be a real battle here at right tackle. And Andre Roy, in his second full season with Colorado, does not, I believe, want to sit because he's a Maryland transfer where he was a starter. So all good things happening here in terms of real competition in the offenses. Oh my God, JR Boxing is in the building. I told y'all, man, listen, they say it's Saturday at noon. Perfect timing. JR Boxing. What's up, my brother? Real ball talker. You know, you never know who might pop up in the chat. You know, David Talks Buffs might pop up in the chat. Say No More might pop up in the chat. TLP Sports Club might pop up in the chat. JR Boxing, love what you're doing with B Watts and Greg said it. Real content, real ball talk. Welcome to the chat, brother. I need you to get active, agree, or disagree. We're about to get in formations for a second, okay, and how we can utilize these pieces to be effective in 2026. All right, tight end position, deepest single position outside of the wide receiver room and maybe the running backs in terms of total players in that room. But I think the clear favorite here, probably one of the most solidified positions on the team. I think solidified is Demetrius Hunter at center. Solidified is Zach Atkins at tight end. Solidified is Julian Lewis at QB. I think the battle is on for every other position. Maybe solidified here is Danny Scudero. All right. If you guys agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know as well. Zach Atkins, 4'5", continues to put on weight and strength. I believe is going to be that anchor tight end for us. Now, the interesting thing about the go-go, there are some formations where Brennan Marion will use 6 down linemen. Okay? 6 down. So imagine this front right here. Bo Hughley, Yaya Atia, Demetrius Hunter, Jose Soto, Taj White, and put like a Larry Johnson on that line and then run the ball. There's going to be some real smash mouth football happening in Boulder in 2026, and I'm here for it. Okay. And next to him, in terms of overall play time, is Brady Kopetz. The transfer Fisher Clements from North Colorado is probably going to come in here and compete for some time. So is Charlie Williams. And then the young guys, right? The red shirt sophomores, Corbin Lazier and Zane D'Souza. Really want to see these guys continue to develop. I really like the hire of Coach Niblett here to develop this room. We really need our tight ends to be great blockers. And then when we find opportunities for mismatches where they're starting to ignore the tight end, we can get some vertical plays out of these guys. 2 tight end sets right now. I'm going to go Zach Atkins and Brady Kopetz. But I think there's going to be a lot of movement here, guys, as guys compete for positions across this entire boxing. This is Warren G. Okay, Warren G. What's up, man? 4 wide receiver sets are going to be fire too. Yeah. If Colorado wants to spread the defense out and throw the ball around the yard, I think they have a lot of great options to do that. And that's when it really gets scary. But I think the base formations for the go-go offense are probably what we're going to stick with. And maybe we'll give 1 or 2 teams some exotic looks. I don't expect that we're going to see any of that during spring ball, as I'm sure he's going to keep a lot of that stuff close to the vest. All right, let's look at some go-go formations here because I'm really trying to learn alongside you guys, right? Instead of just assuming what the go-go offense looks like, this is a great website here, Throw Deep Publishing. where I found some go-go plays that we're going to walk through. All right. Again, this channel is about going to school. So when you guys to go to other chats and they're just talking and you can't really see any research being done and you can't really see any real analysis, you know they ain't really putting in that work like we're putting in that work here to really understand how this thing is going to look. Okay. So now we're going to get into actual play calls. All right. And I'm going to employ a couple of things here that it's my first time employing. So hopefully it works well because I want to telestrate some of this stuff for you. So let me see if I could zoom in first of all. All right. That's a little bit more zoomed in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add telestration here. Now, one of my OGs was like, hey, young man, I like your content. And this is not to be condescending, but I'm old school. So I'm going to need you to get a telestrator. So, okay, we're going to start telestrating on the channel, right? So thinking back to the depth chart, okay? William and Mary running read triple option out of the go-go. This is your quarterback. This is your fullback. This is your halfback. They have an H back here. In this set, I will consider this Zach Atkins. Okay. So Juju Lewis in my current depth chart, Richard Young, DeKalen Taylor, Danny Scudero, or maybe Danny Scudero to the outside and Joseph Williams to the inside. Because Danny Scudero is a real deep threat, you have him in this play running this corner off. You got to respect it as a corner. If we see you sitting here and not really respecting his ability to release and go deep on you, we might call this play just a go play to Danny Scudero. Brennan Marion, no block, no rock. I like Joseph Williams right here coming up to block the strong safety. Now we're about to run the option, right? Because you got the tight end offset here. They got to respect it so the corner is over top of them. The quarterback is going to do, he's going to start the option. This is his first option here on the dive. Now, the person who he's reading is this unblocked end. As you guys can see, everybody here is blocked. They're going to double the nose and then get up to the next level on the backer, right? Double right here, double the defensive tackle, and then, not double, but block the defensive tackle and block the end right here. The guy who the quarterback is reading is this end who is going to be unblocked. If this end crashes in down on this fullback, in this case, in my depth chart is Richard Young, the quarterback is going to keep it and get to the edge. Now his next read is the linebacker. If the linebacker takes DeKalen Taylor, then Juju Lewis now has the running lane here to take this ball up the gut. And that's how this play is supposed to work. All right. Which is why I love Richard here in the fullback position, or the up back position, because what we want to do is really hit them with body blows, guys. We really want to hit them with body blows. Okay. But let's say, this end unblocked takes the quarterback, right? So he stays true. He doesn't crash down and he takes the quarterback. What we want for Richard Young right here is take this dive right up the gut. Okay. Now, let's say they do get up to the second level successfully, right? So this guard right here gets up to the second level. What we want to do is, as the flow of the play is going to the right side, we want Richard Young to be able to put his foot in the ground, right, and cut this up and get up the field. Does this make sense, guys? This is what the option looks like in the go-go offense. Okay? But let's say, and this is what I'm most excited about, right? This is what I'm most excited about. Let's say this end crashes down on Richard Young and this linebacker takes Juju. This is where he now pitches the ball to DeKalen Taylor. This is where we should get home runs in the run game, which is why I have DeKalen Taylor as my pitch man in the triple option under Brandon Marion. So when you're thinking about who I put in what position as starters, this is what I'm looking for the triple option. Richard Young hitting them with body blows, Juju on occasion, based on how disciplined this edge or this backer is, being able to get upfield with the run. But I really ultimately want to get it to DeKalen Taylor to see if we can hit a home run here. Give me a like. Give me your comments. We're doing real ball talk here using not only the depth chart, but the formations that you're going to see run in the go-go offense. All right. We're going to take a look at another play here. Okay. This is something that Brennan Marion loves to do, which is run unbalanced quad sets. Okay. And now this is the option again. It just looks completely different. So talk about a 3 wide receiver set, right? So you might have like maybe have a DeAndre Moore right here. You have a Joseph Williams right here, and you have a Danny Scudero right here. What you'll do is either have another wide receiver here, let's say a Q for 6, or you could have a DeKalen Taylor out here. Say no more tapping in. Boy, we calling real plays out here. We playing Madden out here right now. Say no more. And people are locked in because they want to see what this thing is going to look like. Right. So if I'm Brennan Marion, like I said, maybe I got DeAndre Moore right here blocking the corner. I got Joseph Williams here blocking this corner. I have maybe I'll flip that, right? If you're going to have somebody blocking the linebacker. But sometimes all you need to do is just get in the way. You could have a Q for 6 here as a pitch man. You could have DeKalen Taylor here as a pitch man. And they have to respect it. Because you could also run pass plays off of this. So let's watch how you run an option out of this set. Okay. Unblocked man right here is this edge player. If the dive man is right here, so let's call this Damian Henderson now. We got a change in personnel. We got Damian Henderson as the dive man now. You got to respect it. If this end stays true, right, meaning he plays the outside, we're just going to give the ball to Damian Henderson right here up the gut. Okay? Because he's the dive man on this play. Now, if he crashes down on Damian right here, right? Because that's the thing. When you're unblocked and they've been eating your team up on the dive, instinctively, you're going to want to make the play on the dive. You're going to want to make the play on the dive. So what this now does is it gets Juju up to the second level. Now he's taking the dive. He pulled it out. Now he's reading the linebacker. So imagine what you have on the edge right now, which is why they say no block, no rock. In 2025, guys were just blowing up our blocks on the screens, right? So this will be a huge improvement if these guys can all hold their blocks here. Juju's now done reading the end. The end crashed down. He kept the ball. He's now reading the linebacker. If these blocks hold, guys, and this is DeKalen Taylor, this is Q for 6, this is Cam Perry. Now you got Juju Lewis reading the linebacker. Now, what they teach quarterbacks is you got to press this guy. You can't pitch too early. They say you want to get up on this linebacker until you smell his breath, meaning you force him to commit to you, then you pitch it out. So look what we have set up on the edge here with a true home run hitter on the outside running the option. This is what we want to see in the run game in Boulder in 2026, guys. And guess what? You could now have a DeAndre Moore, Joseph Williams, Danny Scudero, and Cam Perry on the field, and you can still run pass plays out of this. This is very exciting, guys, about the way you could now get multiple playmakers on the field and make sure you're getting the ball to your home run hitter in a triple option. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We in class right now. So when y'all go anywhere, you're going to clearly know the people who are actually doing research out here, diving deep into the content, or people who are just doing clickbait and just talking crazy. Let me go to the chat real quick. Them five going to be fighting for touches. I 100% agree. Trackhawk and Henderson, RJ Young and Jaquil Smith, Micah with Henderson. Yes, I agree. Let's go real quick right back to, let's go back to the depth chart. I have a couple packages here. Okay. I definitely have a headache package in the red zone. What happened to my mouse? Oh, you guys can see I have a headache package here. All right. We might go double tight, right? Right? So that means we're going to lose 2 wide receivers when you're in double tight. Okay. Because you're still going to keep 2 running backs. So we go double tight, right? 2 tight end set. We're going to lose 2 wide receivers. We're only going to have 1 wide receiver out there. Now the defense is thinking run, is double tight end. Okay. My CTE package with double tight is Richard Young and Damian Henderson. We're about to just give these boys a CTE. Okay. Or you go Damian Henderson, Micah Welch, or you go Richard Young, Micah Welch. We're about to hand out CTEs. Okay. So not only can you have fun with formations, you can also have fun with personnel. And you can also, like, you know how sometimes boxers say, like when I was watching Hearns and Hagler the other day, just for some nostalgia, they said, you know what, we throwing boxing out the window. We're going to just stand here in the middle of the ring and trade shots. And oh, by the way, just when you think we're about to run the ball again, we got an ISO out here with our X wide receiver, the only wide receiver on the field who can stretch the field. Now, when everybody is down in the box thinking they're about to get a CTE, we can get an explosive play on the outside. Yeah, CTE package. That's what I'm calling it. Okay, when Brennan Marion just wants to hand out CTEs, you might even bring a 6th offensive lineman in, drop the tight end, and just go goal line. Right? All right, back to formations, guys. Let's go back to formations. Let's keep doing this film study. Okay. Let's keep doing this film study. All right, here we go. Let's go goal line. 12 personnel. I wish I can get rid of all these ads, but I can't. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. Quarterback, 1 running back. Now remember, Brennan Marion loves to be overloaded to the boundary, right? So this is the short side of the field. Okay. This is him running the ball to the short side of the field, overloaded on this side. This is, again, why it's necessary to have wide receivers who can block. And remember, guys, we were talking about a right guard who can pull. Okay. If we have like a Jose Soto here, or even if Larry Johnson is starting here, he's able to pull. You'll notice on a lot of either their inside zone read or their outside zone reads, you'll see that pulling guard motion here. This is where having a Hakeem Williams as this H-back, or You're pairing Hakeem Williams with Zach Atkins, right? Two big guys, but a big wide receiver here who can block on the goal line, with your outside men also blocking. You could see why blocking for the wide receivers is so important. What you're trying to do is create a lane here, a running lane for the running back. In goal line, I really like Michael Welch. Even with Michael Welch, and you watch my review of Michael Welch's tape, Michael Welch is not going to go down on the first contact. If all fails here, you're going to still he's going to break that first tackle and he's going to try to get to the outside here. Right? So what we're going to see from Colorado also is a lot of unbalanced formations to the boundary, trying to run the ball with a pulling guard up to the outside and get a touchdown. Now, one thing I want to do now is look at passing plays, right? Because it's going to look very similar to their formation on run plays. This is what I mean by vertical shot. So when you watch Colorado in 2024 and you watch Colorado in 2025, I didn't see a lot of vertical shot plays in 2025. You did see a lot of vertical shot plays, but they were long developing in 2024, which is why Shedeur Sanders ended up taking a lot of sacks. In the go-go offense, it is about quick decision-making. Quick decision-making. Now, in this play, because you're running the ball so much, the defense really has to respect that play action motion that the quarterback is going to be making. Remember, we've run triple option. We've run triple option out of many different formations. We've run the dive play. We've run inside zone. We're giving them body punches, right? The offense is wearing. We're leaning on these guys. You got a Bo Hughley leaning on the end. Yaya Atia leaning on the tackle. Double team by Hunter and Soto on the nose. We got double team out here blocking these guys, right? When we run that play action, this fullback, Richard Young, Damian Henderson, is going to come out here to block, right? Anticipating maybe they might bring the blitz or something, right? Maybe this is second and short, third and short, but we want to take a shot play. This running back right here who's taking that play action fake is going to come out here and he's going to look for work. Right? He's going to come this way, fake the ball, and he's looking for work right here. He's picking up anything, right? Because you might have backers coming here, right? They might be bringing the house, right? So these guys are here looking for work, right? Anybody coming through, you got to protect the quarterback. But because you've been so effective in the run, this is where I'd love to see our big play wide receivers like Cam Perry and Danny Scudero really eat. Because if these guys crash down, right, or they bring an extra safety into the box, this is where you're able to take those deep shots off of play action down the field. And that's why these big play wide receivers were brought in, a Scudero or Cam Perry. Everything that we're going to do all in the pass game is going to be based off of the success of the run game. So, guys, I just wanted to get into a little bit of this context and content so that you guys understand that personnel are just tools. Depth charts are just for tradition. In the go-go offense, which is highly personnel-based, and where Brennan Marion is looking to create mismatches, you love to see when a defense stacks the box, and then you get one-on-ones out here with a strong safety and a Cam Perry. Because you have to remember, we're running tempo too. So just because you saw a triple option out of this with both running backs offset, and now the end is not expecting to be blocked, well, this time we're going to block you. Right. So this guy who would typically be downhill in a traditional passing offense, trying to get to the quarterback or create pressure, is now a little bit hesitant because he saw this formation earlier in the game and they ran option at him. But now he's blocked. Right. So what I love is the creativity and the versatility that the go-go offense, being able to run all of the run plays and then take deep shots downfield, provides for this offense. All right, guys. So hopefully this session was valuable. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about what spring practices are going to look like. We talked about the depth chart, and then we did a little bit of go-go offense one-on-one. Every Tuesday, so coming up next Tuesday, I want you guys to tune in. I'm doing a film study on Gideon Lampron. We're going to be looking at that linebacker. We're going to look at his film, and I'm going to break it down. On Thursday, I'm coming with the defensive depth chart. Okay, we're going to look at who the starting defense is going to be, in my opinion. And then next Saturday, I'm going to be back on live. So we're going to talk about the defense. Hopefully, over the next week or so, we get more information on what kind of defense Chris Marv is going to be running, because that's also going to dictate how I set up my depth chart. If we're going 4-2, right? Now, who are going to be my two linebackers? If we're going 4-3, who are going to be my three linebackers? I'm probably going to base this first depth chart on Robert Livingston's offense, right, which is a 4-2-5. And then I'm going to evolve it as we learn more about what Chris Marv is going to be running. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Watch part 1 if you missed it. This is part 2. I'm going to do a better job with the YouTube live next week so we don't have the live go off on us. And, guys, I pray that the Almighty is blessing you. I pray that He is keeping you in good health and that He is prospering you. And if you're going through hard times right now, remember, hard times don't last forever. All right, guys. So stay encouraged. Have a wonderful week. Until next time, peace.